Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to be featuring something a little bit different on the channel, and that's my new car. My old car was a Kia Optima SX, great car, never had an issue. It was 10 years old, but you know what, 10 years old is a reasonable amount of time to get a new car. And I can tell you, the replacement car for the Optima are these new K5s, and this car is beautiful. I absolutely love this. Now this is a GT line, so this is not the highest end, the GT model. The SX I had before was the highest end. This car's not quite as powerful. The GT version of this is 290 horsepower. I think it's a 2.5 liter turbo boosted 4-cylinder. This is the 1.6 liter turbo engine that produces 180 horsepower. And this is an all of the base model and then the GT line as well. But the GT line has some extra little features and stuff that the base model does, and it's much more sporty looking than the base model. But I did some modifications to this. I got this car about 2.5 weeks ago. Just things I wanted to do to kind of personalize it for myself. Of course, I love this blue, and I thought I'd just put some accents and things on the car. So I thought I'd show you guys some of the stuff I did to it. And I didn't do anything in the interior, but what I did is here on the outside is one of the first things I did was put this black like wind visor type thing that runs from right here. It's just held with 3M adhesive. It comes in 3 pieces. You can pick that up on Amazon, so I'll try to link to the stuff that I purchased here. Some will be Amazon, some will be eBay, and some other places. So this just sticks on, very simple to apply. It kind of covers up that chrome, which is not bad, but some people, you know, complain the chrome kind of looks a little out of place. I kind of like the jet black look of this. You still got the chrome going around the back. Now, I had the windows tint. I just got that done yesterday. I think it's like 85 in the rear, and I forget what it is in the front. The front's not as dark. You can certainly see through it. You can't in the back. Here in Illinois, you have to be careful. You're not really supposed to have much tint at all on the front, so that's why there's a less tint on the front of the car. So obviously the police officers walking up, they can see me inside here for their own safety, which is completely understandable. You come up to a car with tint, like the rear or limo tint or something, and then you can't see. One of the guy's got a gun or something. So obviously you have to, that's why they do that. So that's a couple of things I did there to the windows. Now, I did a few things here. Let me show you in the back here. I'll try to, I think I have a picture of the original one here, but there's you have the GT line branding, the Kia, of course, the new Kia logo there, and then the K5, and over here, you've got the GT line logo, the branding, and this is the same, like a silver. And I found this red and black one on eBay, and I really thought that would kind of pop on the blue and kind of stand out. And there's actually another one just like this in my hometown. So I did, I replaced that. So if I have that photo, I'll put up there so you guys can compare this to the original. It's not quite as good a quality, but I think it looks pretty good. And I used some dental floss and a heat gun to take the old one off, because you don't want to, of course, scratch the paint. So I put that on, and then I did some stuff to the wheels, as you guys will see here. The first thing I did is I got these little blue aluminum Kia valve stem caps. They have various colors. They're like $7 or $8 on eBay. It actually came from the United States, and it really, I love the way that sort of accents the black wheels. So I really thought that looked pretty cool. And then I got these GT line aluminum like caps that go on like in the middle of the wheel. I'm probably not using the right term, I'm bad about that, but these are just held on with 3M adhesive as well. So, you know, obviously this stuff, if someone stole these, you know, it wasn't super expensive. It was a little more than I would have liked them to be. I think they were over 30 bucks for the set of 4. But I really, you know, I do like you can't see here, but the original had the Kia logo in black with the silver, I believe. And that looked really good. But I thought this blue sort of stands out and gives some originality to my car compared to, you know, another one you might see on the road. So I like those. And if one of them falls off, you know, I can order a replacement, or I can just, you know, pull them off. They're just adhesive, so some rubbing alcohol, or if there's any residue, you can pull those off and you're back to the wheels. You're not going to harm the wheels, is what I'm getting at. So that's a couple of things I did to the wheels along with the windows. And now let me, I'll pop the hood. I want to show you the sort of cold air intake that I put in on this car on the engine. So let me pause the video, I'll be right back. Okay guys, got the hood popped up. Here you can see it's obviously new, the engine's really clean. This is that Turbo GDI 1.6 liters. So again, it doesn't put out the horsepower of my old car, but it still is peppy enough. And this gives a lot better gas. Well, a lot better. My old car, I'd get over 30 on the highway. This one rated at 37. I've had over 40 if you're doing mostly highway driving, but I don't have many miles on this car yet. So the engine's still breaking in, but it gets good gas mileage. And we know these insane gas prices right now, paying well over $5 a gallon. It's very important, especially doing some DoorDash like I've been doing lately. But here's what I did here. This is the cold air intake, and the nice thing about this is you're using mostly the stock intake pipes. This is from Berger Motorsports. I'll link to them. They sell this heat shield, and then the filter that comes in blue, and I think they have red. They have a couple colors, and I wanted blue to match the car. It's a little pricey. This runs I think $150 some, but it's far cry from a complete, you know, metal pipe intake kit from AEM, or I think Shark Racing makes some, and those are nice too. And they look nice, but that's a lot of work putting that in. This is going to work just the same, and I still this will pop off. I got this stuck on here so it can still draw cold air in here, and then the colder air can come in, and then it can take it. And it does breathe in more air. I don't know if it gives you more horsepower. They say on their website up to 8 more wheel horsepower. It might give you a hair, maybe a 1 or 2. I don't know. It's the way I could tell. I couldn't tell you that. But I like the sound of them. The engine's a little bit more throatier, a little bit more growl. On the 4-cylinder like this, it's still a little bit wind-up noise sounding. I had these on some 6-cylinder before on my I had one on a Tiburon, which was a V6 back in the day, a Tiburon GT 2003. And I had a cold air, that was from Shark Race, and then I had a cold air intake from AEM on my Hyundai Genesis Coupe, which is over 300 horsepower, that V6. I missed that car. And that was also a manual. This is of course an automatic. And that one really, you could tell, it really sounded like a V8 with that on there. But the nice thing about this is you just remove the stock box. You put a couple bolts on here to attach the heat shield where the original air intake box, the filter box went. So, you know, the newer one, this car, the filter media comes in like this. But you can easily put this back in. There's just a few bolts down here that I had to use some extensions on the sockets to get down there and tighten them into place. But it uses all the stock, you know, bolt patterns and stuff. So there's no modifications. Technically, I don't know if Kia could, I mean, if some weird thing happened, they could say the intake caused it and try to get out of warranty. If you did something like this, you might be a good idea to actually put the stock box back in before you took it for warranty work, which I probably would do, but there's no harm. This is not going to hurt anything, and it looks cool too, you know, I like it. So I'll link to them. They do, AEM makes one that comes in and it's enclosed here, and I'm sure it's probably a little bit better because you can draw the air in, you're not getting any heat from the top, but it, you know, those are probably around $400, and this is probably at least half the cost. So I think this, you know, heat shield is important to keep this back, because you can obviously some of these cold air intakes end up being hot air intake because they take a bunch of engine heat in, and actually it's counterproductive. I think this one seems to work pretty good. So yeah, that's the modifications I did on this, and I really love this car. I wanted to show you guys a little bit more about the cold air intake that I put on this car. I showed that in my original mod video, and I had a few people comment on it. One person asked, hey, could you make another video so we could hear how this cold air intake sounds on your car? This is a cold air intake from Berger Motorsports, one of the more affordable ones, because you don't have to use, you do use, I should say, the piping that comes with your car. You don't actually have to install a whole kit. It's basically the filter and the heat shield. So let me flip the camera around here, and I'll show you guys the kit in case you hadn't seen it, and then we'll start the car up so you guys can hear it. So let me just flip the camera around here. Alright guys, I got the camera switched around here, and as you guys can see, here is the cold air intake. It's just this filter and this heat shield right here. Now, as you saw, I have my external mic attached to my shirt. I'll take that off and hold it a little closer when we start the car so you guys can hear it at idling. And then we'll take it out on the highway, put it in sport mode, and stop it and let you guys hear from inside the cabin of the car what it sounds like. Obviously, I can't do a comparison. I don't have footage from whenever, before I put this kit in, which I did right after I got the car. But you can listen to it if you have this car and maybe decide whether you like the difference in sound, because there is a bit of a difference in sound. Now, the filter, as you may have saw in the thumbnail, was much brighter blue when I first got it a few months ago. It will fade some just from probably just the air coming in, because of course there's no sunlight in here to expose or to lighten up the blue, but it just from the wear and tear every day driving. And I have a little under 2,000 miles on the car now. The filter has faded a little bit, but it looks fine. Everything looks good. So you got the heat shield here to keep heat from getting in as much into the filter. You don't want to draw hot air into a cold air intake, or that sort of defeats the purpose of what it is. And just a filter which attaches on right here. So when you remove the stock intake box, you're going to take all that out. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not difficult. And then you just are going to attach this along with the hose clamp that they give you straight onto the stock intake pipe here. And then of course the heat shield goes in first. They give you some screws that you need to put on right here to attach it to it. And then I went ahead and attached the intake here that goes into the original stock intake box. It just stops right here, and that allows some cool air to come in underneath the hood. Otherwise you're going to be taking in more hot air even with the heat shield, because you're only going to be able to circulate air within the engine bay, and you don't want to do that. So you definitely want to make sure you apply this piece, and it just pops off. It doesn't even screw into place. It just snaps into place. Make sure you put that on, otherwise you're going to be taking a lot more hot air. So let's go and fire up the car, and then let you guys listen to it while it's idling. And I'll hold the mic a little closer, so let me go start the car. Let's go ahead and start it up. All right. Now, idling, it may not be super noticeable. So that is obviously just idling. Let me take the mic off my shirt. You guys can see it here. Pull a little closer. So that's just idling. I don't think you're going to notice much of a difference idling. Let me sit in the car and just rub it here just a little bit while we're not moving, and I'll put the mic up here. Just give it some gas. You can kind of hear it doing that, and the turbo whine a little bit, but yeah, you can hear it a little bit there. So that's just idling. Let's go ahead and get it out on the highway. All right, guys, hopefully you can see here I got it in sport mode. Hopefully that shows up here. And let's go ahead and just get out here on the road and stop it. I'm just holding my action camera. Okay. So of course we get a lot of turbo noise there, and the turbo is winding up and hitting a higher RPM. But hopefully you could hear some difference there with the cold air intake. It's just allowing a little better airflow for one. So it always makes the car sound a little bit, throatier. I don't know exactly how to say it, but you could possibly get a little more horsepower. They're going to advertise a few horsepower, 5 maybe. I don't know if you get it much. You might get a couple. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys here. Here are these brake and gas pedal covers, and they have the GT Line K5 branding. I've been using these for probably about a month or so, and you can see they look really good, and there's not any concerns about these flying off or causing an accident or your foot getting caught up on them. It's like some of those unbranded kind of ones you see at like AutoZone and stuff. Now on the brake pedal, you're going to take off the black boot that was over your brake, and this one will slide on. You can see as I move it here, it just pops over the metal brake pedal itself, and it just replaces the one that was already on there. I'll try to grab that here in a second and show you the one that came on the car. It looks identical, it just doesn't have the metal and the branding. But for the gas pedal, you actually slip this over the existing brake, and it has these little like rubber tabs. You just kind of push down and snap. It's super easy. So on the brake, you're going to replace the actual pad, the actual boot, I should say, not a pad, and the gas pedal. You're going to actually put that over the existing gas pedal on that guy. So that's how that works on those. And let me just show you real quick, if I can find it over here, the actual original brake boot, I guess you would call it. Here is the original black one that was on there. The new one looks like that. It's got this little, I believe it has this little piece in the back, and you just, like I said, you just slip the new one over. It looks just like this, but it has that metal, and it has the branding on it like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, on the car.